Welcome to AEC Unplugged. I'm your host, Danielle Gray. I actually serve as the Director of Content and Knowledge Resources at SMPS HQ. And look, thank you for joining. What a great time. It is Tuesday, August 20th. At least in Atlanta, it is beautiful outside. If you have not gone outside, I encourage you to at least peek out and look outside, get a little vitamin D, and probably a little space from all the work that we're doing, right? But thank you again for joining. So, look, if this is your first time joining AEC Unplugged, what we are about is intimate discussions about strategies, about trends, about just insights overall for the AEC growth professional. And basically, what is the growth professional? That is anyone that is uh, taking part of the growth of a firm. So that's principals, that's marketers, that's business developers, that's seller doers. That's really all of us are a part of that process. So this is for you. I am excited about the fact that you can, if you have not seen this before, you can always go back. So we have season one. There's 8 episodes, lots of great content, lots of great guests. It was an amazing season. I'm still taking in and digesting all the lessons learned. But we've kicked off season 2. We've had episode 1, and now we're at episode 2. Boom, just like that. So again, if you have not watched or seen any of these episodes, you can go to YouTube on the SMPS YouTube, go to the playlist AEC Unplugged, and you will be able to enjoy yourself and watch and listen to some really great people. So let's see here. Before we get started, let me know where you're from. I think this is a big part about this is, yes, we're going to have this awesome discussion with my guest today, but we want to make sure that we connect. It's really important for all of us to connect with each other. So if you were joining in live, go ahead and comment and tell us where you're joining from. All right, so I told you I was a director of content and knowledge resources, so I got to do my job. I got to tell you what's coming up. There's actually a webinar that's coming up this week. It is on August 22nd. You will be able to watch live the pursuit journey from herding cats to a killer proposal. On August 29th, we have the anatomy of a value proposition using differentiation framework to write proposal content that gets shortlisted. Those are 2 power proposal webinars within the month of August. So make sure to sign up for those. And then we'll be talking about September, which is going to be our Master This, and specifically about our guest today. So we'll get into that in a moment. But before we do that, I do want to highlight a few really cool programs that are coming up. So we have Amplify Digital that's available for you. If you attended Amplify in Salt Lake City, you can watch it. This is all new content that was not at the conference. And if you did not attend, that's okay. This is the perfect time for you to enjoy and get a little piece of Amplify as well. 7 hours self-paced learning. So take a look at that as well. And then we also have a DEI certificate program that just launched. Highly, highly, highly encourage you to check that out. Check that out as well. We've had several companies that have done group rates for those. So please take a look about learn more about the DEI certificate program. It is something that we can take, and specifically that you can take and learn and implement DEI policies within your firm. All right. So without further ado, enough of me talking to I'm talking to you, but you know what I mean. What we're talking about today is transforming content into business. So if you know me, I started talking about content very early on in my career. That was actually my connection to SMPS altogether. So I'm really excited to talk with our guest today. So let's see. We have a couple of people in today. All right, we got Virginia, Tennessee, Indiana, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Okay, Mara says hello. Hi. SMPS Philadelphia. We got Tampa Bay, Fresno, California. Thank you so much for tuning in. This is amazing. And I am still overwhelmed and grateful that you all continue to tune in to AEC Unplugged. Okay, so now to our guest. We have probably one of the most brilliant minds that I've come across with branding within the AEC industry, and I am so grateful to have her grace the AEC Unplugged show. This is Ida Cheinman, everyone, Principal and Creative Director at Substance 151. Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely, absolutely. So look, I'm excited to have you. We're going to talk a lot about a lot of different things today, but I love to always start these. It's been kind of my popular question ongoing is nobody really planned on being in AEC. So how did you get and find your way into the AEC industry?
Pretty randomly, just like everybody else.
Right.
I've always been on the agency side, and throughout my career as a brand strategist and designer, I always gravitated toward working with B2B brands and companies. It's that long-term thinking and nurturing long-term relationships versus cool, but typically short-lived B2C campaigns. It just feels more impactful to me. And as a side note, I come from a family of engineers and was on track to go to an engineering school, early acceptance and all, but got a little sidetracked and ended up with 2 graphic design degrees instead. So my graduate thesis focused on developing complex but adaptable and agile brand systems. The term I used to frame my thinking was sustainable design systems, based on the dictionary definition of sustainable. Guess what happened when I Googled sustainable design in 2003?
What was that?
20 pages of US Green Building Council links because, you know, sustainable design.
Right.
So I got sidetracked again, of course, into the whole environmental sustainability, green building, triple bottom line. Long story short, Substance 151 was founded as a triple bottom line company. I also joined USGBC Maryland, eventually served on the board, then ULI Baltimore Executive Committee, went to AIA events, and then someone mentioned SMPS. So circa 2008, I went to a local SMPS networking event, and as they say, the rest is history.
I love that. So what was your local chapter that your first?
Yeah. Yep. Well, so we used to be SMPS Baltimore. Now we're SMPS Maryland, and I'm past president. And yeah.
Okay, so this SMPS is not new to you, I guess, right? That's so fun. I think it's like, you know, I find we always, you know, randomly find our way into AEC. So, but you're still here. And you stuck around. I really like the idea about the B2B because I'm in agreement. As much fun as the B2C can be and, you know, all the things, but man, the long-term benefits and the big payoff is really in that B2B space. So let's, before we go into converting, you know, content into business, let's talk about the AEC buying journey, right? What does it look like now and how has it changed?
So I think we all recognize that the way prospective clients research, select, and engage firms has changed dramatically in the last few years. And by the way, the same is very true for employees, but focusing a little bit more on clients today. Many factors. One big one is that the millennials' increased role in the decision-making process is driving a lot of those changes. Their preference for independent research and digital access to information has replaced what all the previous generations relied on, which is personal interactions during the vetting process. So that's a big one. Another big influencer is the B2C buying process. We're all consumers in our personal lives, and more business decision makers follow the same research process they use for personal purchases. Think about how much research and information you collect when considering a new purchase as a consumer, right? even if it's a $30 gadget, not a multi-million-dollar contract. And even the referral process, the sort of driving force in how AC firms have done traditionally business development, more and more referrals today coming from those who've never worked with your firm directly. It could be someone sharing a link to your thought leadership with their peer network or listening to an industry podcast. So all of this has a huge impact on today's business buying process and your firm's ability to cut through. Research shows that business decision makers consume, on average, 13 pieces of content before making a decision. You have to make this content available to them at every stage in their very self-directed and mostly digital journey.
13 times, Ida. That is so.
A lot of content.
It's a lot of content, but it's just the way it is. I remember doing some research, and this was probably 2016 or 2017, and it was 7 times at that point. And that's literally what's changing is people need to see it, need to consume it so much more. That is so interesting. So like I said, I've been a big advocate of content. So I was really excited about having this discussion with you in the first place. So I did this presentation called Confessions of a Content Whisperer, and it was connected to how do you get your technical folks to give you content. The marketers in the room, business developers in the room, they understand you have to lean a little bit on the tech group. But the big thing that I saw that was pretty consistent across was, okay, you have these business developers and marketers that are completely bought in, but then they're having issues with the buy-in. How do you get your leadership to buy in? So do you have any suggestions or advice for someone that is like, look, I don't need to be sold about content. How do I get this across in leadership?
So I think the good news is that, when you and I were talking about it in 2016, it was a little different. I do think that the perceived value of content is changing.
Yes.
Thought leadership, especially, and thought leadership content is now being discussed in C-suite peer groups. And as more and more leaders of all industries and all companies consume more and more content, they're starting to see its influence on their own decision-making process. Right. And so my recommendation, first of all, there's a lot of research and data to help you build the necessary ammunition. I always include it in my presentations for that reason, and happy to share if anyone wants to reach out. We just talked about the new AC buyer's journey and how today's business buyers do their research. They don't contact your firm until much later in the sales cycle. They rely on your firm's thought leadership to assess your expertise. And so you must align your content strategy with your firm's overall business strategy and goals. When you set your content marketing goals, show how they will help your firm achieve its business goals. And then measure against those goals to show the return on objective. Make sure to share your wins firm-wide so everybody knows whether those are hard numbers or just anecdotal evidence of your content working. And this is how not only you can secure that initial buy-in, but that's how you secure more and more budget and resources year after year.
Right. Oh, that's so good. I remember I worked at a design build firm initially for 6 years, and that was my goal, was trying to get them to buy into this. And so a note about the measuring part and keeping tabs. If we have a longer buyer's journey, you do have to keep up with it for a long period of time. I had this email, we worked on this video, we sent it out, we got this great email back that said, we're interested. We want to talk to you about our upcoming project. Marketing was like, oh, this is so amazing. We talked to the division leader. He said, I've been trying to get this person on the phone for years and have not been able to. Fast forward another year, we finally got the contract, everything kind of went through. And then, like another maybe year or two later, the actual project was done. So we're talking about a 3 to 4 year process, but it worked. But to your point, you have to measure along the way. I love that. So what are some common pitfalls that you see when firms are trying to or attempting to transform content into business, and how can they avoid them?
So, there are many. Obviously, it's
Yeah.
not setting the goals, not having the strategy, not measuring. But I think the one that's really probably the most costly mistake is not understanding the fundamental purpose of content marketing.
Mm.
And I think this is probably, marketers get it. It's maybe a little bit more toward, that buy-in, but it makes my blood pressure go up a few notches every time I hear that the reason a firm produces bland, generic, mediocre content that lacks usefulness and a strong point of view is that they don't want to reveal any secrets.
Oh, such a big one.
Right? But
Oh,
by definition, educational content should help your prospects and clients understand their challenges and really position your firm as an expert in solving those challenges. And we touched on this a few times already. Your prospects use your firm's content to assess your expertise in their specific issues, to understand your process for solving their specific problems, and yes, to meet your experts who can solve those problems. By hiding all of that out of fear that somebody will steal all of your secrets and all of your
yeah.
experts, it just renders your content useless. And when you think about, like, when you weigh the benefits of showcasing your expertise, and by doing so, how you increase your firm's ability to attract your ideal clients and influence their decision to hire you, not your competitors. So when you weigh that
Right.
against the fear of a competitor maybe learning something, the benefit just far outweighs the risk, right? And I know I'm on the soapbox. It is really my soapbox moment. But the point is that if you decide to invest in content marketing and thought leadership, you have to be all in. You must make your content useful to your prospects and clients, because that's the only way it will bring measurable results, like what you were describing with the video, right? How
Mhm.
long it took, but the result paid off because you put something really valuable in front of your prospects.
Yeah, and I'm so glad you said that about the competitors, because it's a soapbox of mine too. I'm like, look, one, I'm just a big advocate of, whether it be from a personal standpoint or firm standpoint, it's your people. It's so many other things that bring you competitive advantage other than whatever secret or sauce that you feel like you're trying to hide. And to your point, if you're trying to have this blanket content, that's not going to do anything, so you're wasting your time anyway.
Right.
So I think that's just so spot on. So look, I am really excited that you are going to be doing a master this. So anybody that is watching, you're hearing the gems being laid out here. Ida will be having a master this, a 3-part webinar series called Achieving Return on Content, a new AEC blueprint. Now, before we talk about the webinar, I want to talk about this concept of the new AEC blueprint. What does that mean?
So 2 parts. There's the new and there is the blueprint, right?
Right.
So the new relates to the fundamentally change the AC buyers and their journey. We need a new blueprint because the old strategies are no longer effective. We can't bring decade-old approaches to how we do marketing today, right? So my presentation will share not only new strategies, data, and research, but also new ways of creating content, publishing content, promoting content, delivering it for today's younger, digitally transformed, omni-channel world. And then the blueprint is meant to communicate my very practical approach. Those who've heard me speak, you know that I will make it practical. You will walk away not only inspired and excited about all the new forward looking concepts and ideas and the innovative new tools and technologies, but with a detailed framework or blueprint for how to implement them, regardless of the type and size of your firm or your marketing team, and whether you're just starting a strategic content marketing or thought leadership program, or you're just looking for those new ideas and new ways to superpower your existing program.
I think this is I mean, I'm excited to learn, especially as the director of content at SMPS HQ. I want to know what all you have in store, because to your point, all of this can be applied, and so I'm really looking forward to this. So September 10th is the first day of the three-part series. Now, for those that are concerned about, oh, I can only make one, I can only, all of these will be recorded, so you do not have to worry about that. Obviously, live, you can ask Ida questions there, but if you cannot, that's okay. You can still register, so do that. So before we get into the very last question, can you share with us who would benefit most from this webinar? And what can attendees expect? You kind of talked about what they can expect to walk away, but who would most benefit?
So the series is focused on what's next in content marketing and thought leadership, and how to go from creating content to creating content for business results. Again, we'll cover everything from securing buy-in to audience-centric content development, publishing and distribution, working with SMEs, lots of practical how-tos and insights. Bring your seller doers. Let's help them understand the importance of thought leadership content and how they can use it throughout the sales process and to nurture existing client relationships. So all that wonderful content that you spend time developing,
right,
we don't want it to just sit somewhere because nobody's using it. So we want to show people how to do that. Bring your leaders who need to be convinced that content is the hardest working and most effective marketing strategy that your firm can have. Especially in that first session, I will use some research data to help you build your case and kind of understand why thought leadership is such a critical strategy for a professional services firm. So really, this is for anyone who touches content, whatever that means, within your firm, whether it's developing content or using content to sell your firm. Everybody should come in.
Yeah, I was good. Everybody, like, just tell everybody to tune into this three-part series. It is going to be phenomenal. If you are getting any of this, I know that it will be. So before I let you go, Ida, I want to ask, like I do with every guest here, what words of wisdom would you share with AEC growth professionals as it relates to this, or just in general?
I would say be a sponge. Never stop learning. People often ask me, how do you know all this stuff? I consume a lot of content, a lot, from very diverse sources and across many different industry and topics. So both things that I specialize in and things that I don't know anything about, because I think it's really good to bring the diversity of ideas, and knowledge is power. I strongly believe that. And I strongly believe in the value of lifetime long learning and being proactive about it. Like, don't wait for somebody to come and tell you everything. Seek the knowledge that you want. That's why I also love sharing my knowledge with others. I think it's really important.
I love it. Thank you so much, Ida. That was amazing. Be a sponge. I love that. Thank you so much for joining. And make sure, if you're tuning in, to join Ida for the Master This starting September 10th. So thank you, Ida, for joining AEC Unplugged.
Bye.
Bye. So look, another episode in the can. We did it. Season 2, episode 2. I hope you enjoyed that. I genuinely, one, am just excited because I've been on the content train for a while. I see that we had a question, but we will get those answered. I see it's, what kind of metrics would you suggest we track I don't like to include win rates as they miss out on a lot of nuisance. If we have Ida, are you open to answering that?
Yeah,
Okay,
of
I
course.
just saw that.
So again, based on the goals, right? But so it will be very specific, but in general, content helps you in several areas. Brand awareness. So the metrics, building your visibility and reputation. So the metrics you would use for that are the same you're using for branding. It's, from new website visitors to getting leads and getting speaking inquiries and everything in between. And Steven, there are a lot of kind of in the weeds things I won't be able to cover. So if you want to also reach out to me offline, I'm happy to share. Content helps open new doors. So it moves you through awareness to consideration, from prospects to clients. So this is, again, lead generation and lead nurturing metrics that will be useful, as well as, again, are there prospects all of a sudden contacting you who you had never worked with before, who you've never contacted before? And then it's also nurturing client relationships with content. So it's your client retention rates. And again, brand recall, the more kind of money related metrics, where the preference toward your brand and your firm because of your thought leadership and because of your reputation in the marketplace. So think about different marketing and branding metrics to kind of bring them in depending on what you're trying to do with your content.
Thank you, Ida. Look, this is how we flow in LinkedIn Live. It's live. It's live, Stephen. Thank you so much for providing that question. Thank you, Ida, for answering.
Sure.
Okay, so we were closing up, and thank you so much for the questions. Thank you so much for the interaction. This is helping everyone. So if you are interested, again, make sure to sign up for Master This with Ida. That will be starting in September. We also have several other webinars coming up August 22nd and August 29th. So make sure to look at the online learning. And I believe that's it. I hope that this encourages you to do something different. But if it does not do that, I hope it encourages you to be something different. Be a sponge. I love that. Thank you so much, Ida. And we will be back. We will be back with AEC Unplugged. We're getting all of our episodes together. So if you have suggestions on content, if you have suggestions on thought leaders, please, please, please reach out to me. We are looking to book this season up. So thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you next time. Thanks.